Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's event. We are with several individuals that are involved with the student-focused coaching, one of which is the author of the book, Student-Focused Coaching. And I will introduce Dr. Michel to you, and then we have a program planned for you tonight, and you will get some feedback on what it's like to use this student-focused coaching, which I think so many of you would love to learn about. So Dr. Daryl Michel has over 3 decades in education, and he consults with organizations nationally and internationally in areas such as instructional coaching and leadership, teaching education, disciplinary literacy, and lesson studies. He's the founder of Be a Change LLC and co-author of Student Focused Coaching, the instructional coach's guide to supporting student success through teacher collaboration, and instructional leadership in student focused coaching, creating effective systems to cultivate student success. That will be coming out in October. Actually, that's this month, October
I
15th.
know.
He also serves as a project manager for the University of Texas at Austin's Meadows Center for Preventing Educational Risk, consulting with districts to develop multi-tiered systems of support. So tonight, thank you for being here, Dr. Michel. My partner, Lori Severino, and I have a few questions for you to get us started. So
Okay.
tell us, what was one of the reasons you developed this asynchronous course?
Oh, great question. When Jan Hasbrook and I, so I'm just thinking about the two of us here of co-authoring student-focused coaching initially, and part of the push to do this was how do we continue to message student-focused coaching um, for others? I mean, whether it's here in the States or it's internationally, knowing the evidence behind the model and having opportunities for folks to go through first this as the asynchronous course as an opportunity to just build knowledge. So just the informational part, because think of sometimes when it's like, oh, we do a book study, and then now I should go and I should teach everything there is to know about the book. It's like, well, trying to organize this one so that it's an opportunity first for just to learn. And then the idea of then moving on to do other courses where you can start to really apply and have a thought partner in all of this. And then, the hope is that folks might eventually get to a place where they themselves would want to take and continue to present on the model. So multiple layers here of reasons why, but it's just seeing the impact that student focused coaching has had is that wanting to just continue the journey, but with more people. Jan and I are neither one getting any younger. And the thought of like, how do you continue to carry the message?
Yep. It's really important to get it all on video so everyone can
Mm,
watch it, right?
mhm.
Lori, you want to
Right.
take the next one?
So, Daryl, can you introduce us to some of your folks that are here that have been through the course? And I think you wanted to share some information where you can kind of take folks through
Mhm.
what some of that coursework looks like, and then we can come back to more questions and then open it up to others to ask questions also.
Yeah, so we have three individuals here with us this evening, from different parts of the country. Jackie is in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and works as a state level coordinator of Read Ohio Coaches, which she can talk a little bit more about. Um, Jody is in the Austin, San Antonio, Texas area, who has had um, a consulting career of supporting Be a Change in different aspects with course development, but also in numerous of other roles as principal, coach, etc. And then Stacy Spears is in Atlanta, Georgia. Stacy was a principal who had worked with their instructional coach for a period of time, and now here she is in Atlanta. So having three individuals here in different parts of the country who have had an opportunity to not only do work within student focused coaching in the book, but they've also had an opportunity to get into and review course content. And so if okay with you, Lori and Donna, turn it first to Jackie and ask her to just share a little bit about her experience in the course before I actually show it, uh, and maybe some of the things that you've taken away in that position, your role there, Jackie.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm thrilled to be here. And it was such an honor to be able to go through the course and to preview the course and how we could use it. So, as Daryl had said, I'm in Ohio and I am a coaching coordinator for the state. There are 5 of us across the state. And so we hire and disseminate coaches into struggling districts in Ohio. So for me, this course, I'm so excited about it because my coaches can get into this course, whether they're a coach who we have done some study of the book. We've been fortunate enough to have Daryl come here to Ohio, but this is a continuation of the knowledge for the individuals who have some experience with student focused coaching. And then I have some brand new coaches that would also, this would be a huge benefit for them as new coaches. So I think at any level, the coaches can expand their knowledge. They have access to tools and resources within the course. They can use the self-reflection tools in order to think about where they are in their current practice and how they can expand their thinking and practice, to really dive into that evidence around using student data to move the needle in practices. For our coaches, we're specifically centered around literacy. So we do lots of things in literacy in struggling districts and districts who are trying to move the needle. And I think this course is so beneficial for all of my coaches. It gives us that experience beyond just a book study.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. Jody, do you want to give a quick overview of your experience in the course? And
You're
you're
muted,
muted.
Jody.
Tried to follow directions and then forgot. Yeah, it actually was kind of hard for me to narrow down. I very quickly, just driving home, could think of so many examples, but I really did narrow it down to, I think, 3 big ideas that I've just continued to appreciate more and more about student focused coaching. And one is the fact that it truly is an inside out model, that it's ultimately about staying focused on students, which I think so often we can let the adult issues sometimes jump in there with especially coaching and leading. But it's ultimately about students and how coaches or leaders or colleagues can support teachers and students, and how the leaders and administrators are supporting the coaches and the teachers and the students. And so it's all focused back on the inside, keeping it the main thing. Another thing I really appreciated, I only have 3. I could talk a long time, but I'll just do 3, is I think it's a great combination of specificity and flexibility with student focused coaching based on your particular needs. I do truly believe that it can benefit, I believe, everyone in education. So if you're a new coach or new to a role in leading, it could actually be almost a handbook if you wanted to take it that way. All of the big important things in working with adults to support students. If you're experienced, it even says in the book, which gave me a lot of comfort initially, it's okay to just do a reset. There's a certain area that you feel like you could benefit from. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What would you like to reset, and how this book can support you through that area? And then people who aren't coaches, they don't have that specific role. It really is for all educators. If you just want to work with your colleagues on your team, it can help, I think, every educator. The other thing that I like is just the coach's way of being, that everything in the book truly is grounded in the definition. And if you go back to the definition, that is a little bit long when you first read it. The book stays true to that, and everything about the roles, responsibilities. And that the other part of the coach's way of being that I think initially can be very uncomfortable and difficult, and then when you can settle into it, is so freeing, is that it's not the coach's job to be the expert, fixer, teller, director. And that's very scary, because I think quite often people are hired because someone thinks they've got all the answers. And so go sprinkle that and give everybody the answers. And student-focused coaching is some of that. Some expertise is really great and it can be shared. But when it comes to problem solving, respecting that people really do have the answers to what they are willing to do when it comes to working through situations and problems. And if we can partner, truly collaborate and partner with colleagues in a very respectful way, and use the communication skills that are so laid out in the book, and work on those and hone and polish them, I believe that people will want to work together as colleagues. So those are probably my top three. But if you ask me tomorrow, I might be able to come up with 3 or 4. Yay, that's what's resonating with me. Thank you, Daryl.
No, that's good. You bet. You bet. And then we'll see Stacy if she's on the road. We'll see if it's too noisy. But Stacy, what about your experience?
If you're able to hear me, I do apologize. I had just a day today. And I just, because of my love for student-focused coaching and my gratitude for having been able to pilot the course, there was no way that I wasn't hopping on this Zoom meeting at least for a few minutes. I will tell you that I really did some work, and I have an entire page that I had planned to read. But unfortunately, while driving, for the safety of myself and my daughter, I'm not going to be able to do that. So that being said, I really feel like the 2 ladies that went before me are truly a hard act to follow. They did already state some of the points that I had planned to say, but very quickly, I would just like to add the course. For someone like me, as I get older, my attention span is not what it used to be. And the course is very engaging. It allows a person not to have to really, there's some courses where you have to get other resources to understand what's being presented. But for this course, it's explicit and specific, and it does it in a very concise manner, and I could really appreciate that. There's so many takeaways. It gives you opportunities to assess your learning. It gives you opportunities to be reflective on your current practices and reflect on things that you want to do in the future. And for me personally, many of the things that are in the course cause me to also take a look at myself, not just those that I have supervised or collaborated with, but also ways for me to improve. And the course allows, it's so, I love it so much that it not only helps me in my professional life, but also in my personal life. By teaching, they just talked about communication, something as simple as listening. People think they have that skill mastered when in fact we don't. And so, there's some very profound elements to the course, and then there are some that you would think would be common sense that are broken down in a way that supports and assists with supporting staff in order to improve, increase, and grow the children. And with growing, and it teaches you another good point with the collaborative problem solving model. It really breaks down a way for you to truly collect quality data and analyze quality data and then take that data and use it in a way that supports the children's learning. So I hope that all makes sense while I'm driving. But Dr. Daryl, thank you so much for this opportunity. As usual, you know what I think of you, and I highly recommend the course, the book, and the entire program. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. So all three of you. And I mean, it has been, Lori and Donna, if you want to ask other questions first, or have we pull up the course and click through it, but whichever
Yeah,
you'd
so
rather do
can I ask
first.
you a question? Because I just hearing that, and I know that we've talked about this before, Daryl, but what makes this different than other kind of coaching courses, right? To give us a little tidbit or two about what makes it different.
Yeah, I think here in terms of my experiences with so many different models is that, you know, I don't know of many, if any other, that the real premise here is that all things are grounded in student data. Um, all things are about once we think that maybe there is a problem or concern we need to address. This is not about let's try to fix it. Put solutions. Let's buy more resources. Let's get another initiative. It's not that at all. And I think for student focused coaching of if we're here for students, then our decisions should be grounded in what we know about students. And so the process of working through the student data, and then we're going to collect additional evidence, and then we'll get to a place to where we can identify or write a problem statement, and then think about a goal and think about an action plan. So this is not about how many new things can we add on. It's how do we help people get to a place within our system to where we can focus on a priority, a small number of priorities, but also really thinking about student focused coaching being um, really fluid and versatile. It is not about a lockstep. You must pre-conference and observe and post-conference. That's just not how Jan and I see coaching. It's not to say that you can't follow that model, which comes from the 1970s in clinical supervision. It's not to say you can't do that. However, even with Joyce and Showers and some of that seminal work and research of theirs in the 80s and 90s is if I'm going to observe and provide formal feedback, one, I have to make sure that it doesn't come across as evaluative because many coaches are not trained to be evaluators. Uh, and it can be really difficult for people to separate, evaluate or coach. The other thing is that if I'm providing formal feedback to someone, I really have to think about this of do I have the technical knowledge and expertise to deliver this targeted feedback? I mean, just because I'm a coach, maybe I came straight out of the classroom. That doesn't now mean that I have all the knowledge there is of 50 years, 50 plus years around the science of teaching reading. It doesn't mean that I'm now the expert in all things structured literacy. It doesn't mean that I know how to explicitly teach a word problem in mathematics. It's really getting to the space where right, we're colleagues, we're mutually engaged in this work. And so I can't be seen as this expert. And thus, we see this as again the grounding in student data. This isn't about coaching cycles. This isn't about what would you like to work on, your personal well-being or whatever it may be. It's like this is about students. So our decisions and what we're trying to do here, the decisions that we make. So grounding our knowledge in all things students.
That's awesome. I love it. So, do you want to take us into a little bit of what the course looks like?
Yeah, so then let me just show you here just a bit. So this being the first, our first course here thus far, let me try to get this to where it's view. No, I had this just a bit ago to where it looked just fine. Now, full screen. Okay, entire screen. All right, so can you see it here in the course?
Yes.
All
Yep.
right, so we have here then in supporting student success through teacher collaboration, a student-focused approach. And this being, again, the first course is all things asynchronous. So as individuals work through this, they work at their own pace, and this is about building knowledge. So you have the book and you're working your way through different aspects of it. So do use and Brooks Publishing, actually I'll give you a QR code in a bit. It's not 10%, they're giving 20% right now. But then there's a general kind of just a brief welcome. And then we get into just a general overview of what's going to happen here. The course does begin with taking a pre-assessment, not that it's scored. It's getting a sense and a knowledge base in terms of where people are in terms of their knowledge of student-focused coaching, other coaching models, etc. And then the same assessment then at the very end. So once finished with the pre-assessment, then into the coaching models. That's the first of 10 modules. So we encourage people to read parts of the text before they actually get into the work, the objectives, the key concepts. There is this in terms of a reflective journal. So let's make sure that this will open and you can see it. There's a reflective journal. Are you able to see the journal?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Let's stop share and reshare. So the reflective journal.
There you go.
Now we see it.
Is each of our 10 modules has its own. This one for coaching models is an opportunity for people. You can download it or you can and print, or you can download and type in electronically here, but your initial takeaways. But then as the course moves through, then you have all these different questions, guiding questions. Now, some people might move through this as fast as they can move through it and not answer the questions. But if you really take the time to work your way through this, I think you get a really good sense here of being able to compare or to contrast what you know about coaching with student-focused coaching, but it also gives you opportunities to really dive deeper into the content. So there is that in terms of having a reflective journal for each of the modules. Now we'll go back to the course here. Then you can see that as you move your way through, we've really tried to do is to make this to where this isn't about how much can you read and process, but it's pulling stuff from the course, things that you've read, and then weaving in. Now go to your reflective journal and ways to apply to your own context. So whether you're a coach, you're a teacher, you're a principal, you're someone who's wanting to learn about coaching, this gives us just some general information and knowledge, but a lot to help us process and connect. The interactives that are woven throughout, there could be drag and drop in terms of that as an example. There are others where it does provide additional information about certain components. Again, just ways to assess my knowledge as I continue through. There are scenarios that we've built in here, so you can click to see which one you believe it is, and then you get responses here in terms of what a coach really does. And the part in here for each of the modules is you'll get to a place at the end where you have 5 questions, and it's responding to each of the questions here before being able to move on. So I'm just clicking through here quickly so that I can then show you that the next part of this is then what we built in as a reflect and um, an application. And so the reflection and application, oh yes, did it again, 100%. Yes. The reflection and application is optional. We do encourage anyone who thinks that maybe they would want to move on into the second course, where it's all things about having a thought partner and applying this work, uh, and eventually becoming the certified over time of maybe continuing to present the content. But this one is an opportunity to really start reflecting in your own space, in your own context, and applying the work. So this is how every single one of these modules are set up. So you can see on the left-hand side, the next one is all about roles and responsibilities. So if you're a teacher in this course, what will be your responsibilities as a teacher if you're also serving as a coach? There's this whole module that's all about communication for collaboration. As Stacy said, just understanding in some cases my own knowledge base of who I am as a listener, as a questioner, as a communicator with other people. So opportunities to make more sense of and become more reflective of who I am. And then we get into what is the centerpiece of the model, and that is around the collaborative problem solving process. But that takes into consideration our roles for student focused coaching, the many parts of the definition, the communication. Then there's team problem solving process. What I'm going to show you in just a bit around a professional development and learning plan. What might that look like if we ground our decisions in student data and collect additional evidence? The effective instruction intervention module, this is built around explicit instruction. And so there are ties in here to MTSS and that work, but all things around systems. And then we come back to one of the earlier chapters, and that's now what? So getting started in this all important role, including how important it is to have the relationship with our administrative partners or supervisors. And then it ends in the course with the post-assessment of scoring 80%, and you receive then a badge, the credential through Credentials Unlimited, and then you can learn about next steps if you choose to continue to move on. So that's kind of the general outline of the different modules. And based on the experiences of Jackie and Stacy and others, that we would say if you were to do all the reading and complete all the coursework, probably approximately 15 hours of time that might be devoted and spent here.
So Daryl, in each module, can you guesstimate about how, is it like with the reading and watching the video and doing the interactivities, 45 minutes to an hour per module, somewhere around there?
It really is.
It
It's
depends on the
different. It
module.
really depends. And that could be something that Jackie, or specifically with Stacy, one of the two, maybe want to weigh in, because they were also doing time stamps. How long did it take them to read? How long did it take to complete an activity? So, Jackie, since you came off mute, do you want to share kind of your process and maybe what you see as times for each?
Yeah, so I think Lori, you're absolutely right. Like it depends on the module, it depends on the content. And for me, I always identify as a slow reader. So it might take me a little bit more time in each one, but also how much time I was willing to put into those reflection tools. So I reading what's there, I'm going through the module. I'm using those reflection tools to then go back into the content and really make those connections for myself. So each module they didn't take the same amount of time. It was somewhere between 15 and 17 hours to do the whole course. But it was worth it to make those connections and to keep going back and using the tools that were provided.
That's
There-
awesome.
I could say one thing. This is Jody, but am I unmuted? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I think one of the things that we talked about as well at the very beginning, it suggested the page numbers, not reading the entire chapter, but all of the specific sections of the book that are related to the content that is in each module is listed, and it's suggested to pre-read at the beginning, which I think really grounds people so much better when they're going through the slides, but that is optional. And so I think we've talked about that's one thing that could make a big difference because you don't have to read. The little assessments are short, but reading the text, a couple of the modules have quite a few pages and some have less. So I think that's another factor about how long you want to take if you really want to read the text.
Right. Stacy, you have anything to add?
No, they both basically expressed my same sentiments. If I would have just said that again, each module the reading varied. So some modules you had more to read than others, and in some modules there were more opportunities for reflection, and the reflection activities some were a little more involved. So each one is just different, and it depends on your speed for reading. I am a lot like Jackie, where I take my time reading to make sure that I'm taking in all of the information. Again, like I said, my attention span is just not what it used to be, so I take my time. So I do believe that if people are confident in their reading and are faster readers, they could get it done quicker. But in order to truly get all that is being offered, 15 to 17 hours with the time varying for the modules, I think is spot on.
Awesome.
Okay. Does anyone have any anecdotal data that supports using this model? And tell us about how that has happened in your world.
So
Anyone?
go ahead, Jackie. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, so in Ohio, we use student focused coaching across the state with our 70 plus coaches. And we gather data from those coaches based on Ohio's model of leveled coaching, but also then within there, what is the role specific through student focused coaching? Are you a facilitator right now? Are you a learner? So within student focused coaching, there are those various roles. And so we gather data on how the coaches spend their time based on the roles and the data and the information within student focused coaching.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they
And
have that
Daryl,
in Ohio. They also have in New Mexico, territory in New Mexico, how some of the coaches with their specific targeted action plans for the schools that they're assigned. So ways in which they have to track the goal that they've set with a teacher, a group of teachers, a whole school. So then they have their targeted action plans in which they come back to. So it's their own evidence. This isn't about a year-long goal often. It might be for 6 weeks, it might be 8 weeks, depending upon the complexity. But it does also provide an opportunity for a coach to think about what I'm doing. Does it contribute to any change in student outcomes? Because it's indirect. When you think of like within coaching, if you have some models who it's like click all the buttons of everything that you ever did with the teacher, it's like big deal. I mean, you did all these things. Did it result in anything? Or we met for this many minutes for this many days. Well, did that change anything? So just because you're collecting data on the number of touch points, you know, there's no research that says coaching dosage makes any difference. So if somebody says you must do 10 coaching cycles, well, there's not evidence to support that. In terms of you need to have 10 touch points. And then, well, what do you mean by this cycle? Is it this step where I have to be the expert of all things? So I think here, yeah, just different ways that people can really monitor and check their own performance. And if you get to a place where you do have a targeted action plan, you have very specific things that you would be doing because you're focused on an area that's going to support, again, a colleague, a group of colleagues, a whole school, and whether that's academic behavior or social emotional.
So, Daryl, that flows nicely into the question I had about the research behind, right? At Credentials Unlimited, we are really focused on making sure that the courses that are micro-credentialed have the evidence base, the research base. And you already talked about some of the research that's in there. And what else can you tell us about how this is backed by the research?
Yeah, so there are several things here that I could share that probably other people who have done stuff in student focused coaching may not even know, because around with Jan Hasbrook's work when she was faculty at Texas A&M, the research that they did around the responsive systems consultation, and this was what they called a CERF manual, CERF. And even within that CERF manual, this was about the different stages and the different steps are part of the collaborative problem solving process. So data there that suggests even each of those steps. There's the work that Jan did again at A&M, and her work there. This was back, gosh, this was probably in the early 1990s. And the work here in the early 1990s around peer coaching and the support them with pre-service teachers. But there's also work by Patricia Mathis and them of how important the coaching part is and the quality of teaching. That takes you well back into the beginning stages of this model. But more recent, we think of some of the more recent research is coming out of the Australian Education Research Organization. And as part of that, the work here in the Australian Education Research Organization of a randomized controlled trial of student-focused coaching and the implementation of student-focused coaching in relation to the Solar Lab work by Drs. Pam Snow and Tanya Seri and literacy, that preliminary findings around the importance of relationships and how coaching relationships take time, role clarity, and how important it is that when we think about anybody in a position of coach, what are the responsibilities that you're going to have? What are the roles? That's really important and necessary that people know that relationships are continuously built through your coaching activities, not just because I'm the coach. Now we're going to have this really strong relationship. Well, that takes time to get people to want to collaborate with you. There's also just around the building of the relationships and how seeing that even within schools, just strengthening the role of what coaching can be. Now, this isn't all just the few things around coaches, it's also the importance of an administrator partner, and that we have to have the support of the administrators, supervisors in communicating these responsibilities. So that's some of the grounding that, as Jan has been studying different parts of the models or other researchers have, that student-focused coaching has a pretty solid, deep research background. And then this one being by independent researchers at the Australian Education Research Organization, or AERO.
That's awesome.
So
Daryl,
talk about micro-credentials and how that
Yeah.
goes into this course.
Yep. Yep.
So Lori and I are co-founders of Credentials Unlimited, and our goal is to provide micro-credentials, which is a certification verification of satisfactorily completed coursework. And so this course is perfect for a micro-credential because it lends itself to short bursts of knowledge and aligns nicely to structured literacy. And we have micro-credentialed this course. And my partner, Lori, is going to show what would happen if you got a micro-credential in this particular course. Before we get that, so the benefits, Lori, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So we love that this course is going to be micro-credentialed, and it is being micro-credentialed because it is all the things that you were talking about, Daryl. And when I go into schools and having conversations and building those relationships, those stand over time, right? And if we can all help each other and we can figure out a way that the outcomes of the student are what's really at the focus of this, that's why we're all doing this work, right? So, we wanted to give micro-credentialing for this course because it met the things that we're looking at. We micro-credential all things structured literacy, but explicit direct instruction, right? And this is helping in that process. And how do we help teachers? How do we get the administrators are on board? So this fits in beautifully with what we're doing. But it is embedded practice, and that's, I think, this is the knowledge building. This course is the knowledge building. There's going to be other courses coming that, if you have an interest in being kind of a trainer around this, there's going to be other courses that come with the micro credential, and they can be stacked together. But most importantly, to have this, that as you're getting this knowledge and gaining this knowledge, that you have access to keeping a professional portfolio. And that's what we do at Credentials Unlimited is give the digital credential, which people love. They love to put it in their email signature. You can share it on your resume. You can share it on social media. But you can also create transcripts that can be sent to universities for other course experience that you can use when you're in a program. But the nice thing that Daryl has graciously offered is not only is Brooks giving 20% off the book, but the course is $50 off for a limited time. So now's the time to get in and grab it. You can actually, Donna, if you want to click on the student focused coaching, the badge itself.
Did?
It's not clicking on, it's not opening up anything.
No, not for me.
Okay. Well, then if you would like to, you can take a screenshot. Okay. We'll share that again in a second, but let me share my screen. Yep. Okay. So
What it
here it
popped up
is.
here.
Great. Oh, well, now I don't know what happened to it. It was there. But Donna, was that yours?
I
Because
haven't.
you're not seeing it on my screen, correct?
No.
Oh, I wonder if it was coming up from your click and it was just taking a while. So let me stop sharing for a minute.
Oh,
Want to see if it will come back up.
You want me to try to pull it back up?
I have it right here, so let me just share it. I thought maybe it would, that's probably what happened. Okay. All right. So in your micro credential, it's not just the digital badge. And so this is an example of someone, just a not anybody that has gotten this micro-credential, but it's just a sample. What it will give you in the back end of things is your course description. This is aligned with the International Literacy Association's literacy coach standards. So these are the standards, foundational knowledge in curriculum and instruction, assessment and evaluation, professional learning and leadership. Um, two different standards for that. It also aligns competencies with the International Coaching Federation core competency model. And so co-creating the relationship, communicating effectively, cultivating learning and growth competency. So there's a lot packed into this course. And so these competencies are met with the outcomes of the course. So when you take that post assessment, those questions are listed here as to, and in the module, the questions that are in the modules, they all line up so you can see which questions address which standard. That's really helpful when you're sharing your transcript information if you want to send it to a university or you want people to know just how much work went into this course and what competencies were covered, they can easily see it. And then our micro-credential review process, we do an extensive process of the course. And then we already talked about some of the research that's involved in this course. And so just so that you know it's evidence-based and based on the science, we have that information here also. And so you can share it quickly and easily through these links. We verify and we certify everything. It's also highly secure, but if you decided this course is going to be your knowledge building course, and then you wanted to move into the application course, and then you wanted to become, kind of the expert on this and share it with other people, you would be building out and stacking those credentials and they would all show up on your transcript. So it's a way to keep your professional portfolio with all of your non-credit programming all in the same place. So Donna, do you want to share the screen again or Daryl, either one of you? Daryl, why don't you share because you can give the Brooks QR code for the % off the book. So this QR code will take you to the course so that you can get in and start working in your course.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Trying to get back to the presentation slides. Goodness. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah. Right.
So this one will give you 20% off both books, even the new book that's coming out. So if you already have the other one, now's your chance to get 20% off the new one.
Yeah. Out in maybe 2 weeks. It should be in
That's
print.
so awesome.
Yeah. Super excited. This one gives you a little bit longer too, through November 15th as a discount
nice.
code here.
Okay.
Yeah. But the QR code should take you to both books.
And as we know, leadership is critical in getting the needle. So that's a good book there.
Yeah. So I'm excited here to be able to take, I don't know if I pull that down already, hopefully, or should I put it back up? Just excited here to be able to continue to share and to showcase the work. I know Donna and Lori and I had talked a little bit about this of how, it's not only was student-focused coaching here in the US, but the international opportunities of working both with La Trobe University in Australia, with the Learning Matters group in New Zealand, a group in the western part of London. But next month, I'll present on student-focused coaching as part of the World Association of Lesson Study Conference in Japan. And that'll be a collaborative of different
folks in different universities as we think of the relationships here of when we're coaching in the space of even something like a lesson study. What is it that a coach is doing? And so, real reflective here as well about just my own moves that I make as a coach in very different kind of roles and positions. Mm,
Okay,
That's awesome.
sounds
yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
That's
very
happening.
exciting. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? So what we'll do, this was recorded. We will be sending this out to anyone who registered. You'll be able to grab the QR codes and get your discount. And don't forget to hop on and look at Credentials Unlimited website and see if there's any other courses there that are of interest to you, as well as the student focused coaching. As you can see behind me, the wheel,
Hmm.
wrong way. One of the wheels, one of the cogs in the wheel is about coaching and practice. And that's what we see as important to make everyone have just what you need to get results for kids. So, all right, thanks for joining us tonight. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add? Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks again. Good night. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you.
Stop the recording.